were they advertised for?
6 o'clock?
Tuesday, right?
Tuesday, yeah. Thank you, Director Itzler. Okay, that concludes the committee reports or voting. Superintendent's report?
Just 4 items: district enrollment figures, guidance, report updates, principals report, newsletter, and newsletters, as well as the most recent newspaper articles, which primarily include Rebecca Foxwell from most of her updates here yesterday.
Thank you. And a couple of representative reports. I am pleased to announce that the Career and Technology Center representative, which is a blank, Steve Blum, has graciously offered to help us with that opening.
I'm sure how graciously.
As will. But with the contingent that if it becomes too much, but we'll readdress it. But we certainly thank him for stepping up to the plate. The alternate for that position is Beth Hickman. The intermediate unit 13 representative will be Stacy Murray. And the EITTCC representative will be Amy Sell, the representative, and Rachel England will be the alternative or alternate. And then legislative representative will be Stacy Murray. And the Recreation Commission representative, Amy Sell has agreed to stay on in that position. And do you have a report for us?
I do, just something quick. Our next meeting, there's no December meeting, there's a January meeting. I met actually with Suzanne today, and she is preparing a press release. And it really just gives a little background of the state of the rec and what specifically has happened over time. She did give me a copy of it today if you're interested in looking at it. The goal is just to get it out in the community that if things don't change, the end of 2016 will be the end of NL rec. So look for that in the papers, pass the word. If you're interested in more information, it's just a really brief 3/4 of a page document that she prepared and be more than willing to share that.
Thank you, Amy. Now we come to our public input session for the non-agenda items. And Daniel Pinkett.
Good evening again. Thank you. Good evening again. I would be inclined not to speak tonight, just because I realize that the new board has suggestions coming at them right and left, and everybody wants you to do everything now, and that's impossible. And I'm sure in due course you will go about the work that we elected you to do. But I'm compelled to speak and call it the protective husband in me, but the current safety situation at the high school is untenable and needs to be dealt with. I'm specifically referring to the lunchroom, where we have just a combination of factors that make that a figurative ticking bomb. And we talked, or I think Director Howe talked about a terrorism incident and how it could happen here. If we don't do something about this, it's not if it happens, it's just when. We have emotional support children that require academic support, who have aides with them throughout their school day, whose aides don't follow them into the lunchroom. They are unsupervised in the lunchroom. We have children who are currently in the midst of legal proceedings, assault charges, on house arrest, who are attending lunch unsupervised, no aide, no administrator, no one to check what they're doing. We have ongoing bullying of special needs children happening right in front of the people who are there who are assigned, which consists of 2 female teachers and 2 female teachers and a male teacher. No administrators present. We have no resource officer, period. We have 4 male administrators in the high school building. None of them are assigned to the lunchroom. This is unacceptable. One of the teachers typically has to leave, and Ms. Bitzler, you probably know this as well as anybody, because, I mean, you were the assistant principal for how long? The lunchroom is an interesting place. Lots of fun happens at lunch. Teachers are often, who are assigned to lunch, need to leave because we had an incident, a fight, a bullying, racist language, sexist language, language that is forbidden by the district. We have no administration present other than to come get their food and leave. We cannot have this. We cannot have the students who require supervision during their entire academic day unsupervised and unaccompanied during lunch. If the aides are not going to follow them into lunch, and I don't know why they wouldn't, then somebody else needs to take up that responsibility. We need to be on top of every child who is in the midst of legal proceedings with our district. If there are children who are in trouble for rape, battery, assault, God knows what, and they are still attending school, they have not been removed from the body politic, if you will, the administration needs to inform the board who they are. The board needs to ensure that the administration is taking proper precautions to ensure that these children do not pose a threat or harm to the other students or to the faculty. That's not happening. When is this going to happen? I fear it will happen after it's too late, after something we don't want to happen happens. And I'm talking about somebody getting hurt. You have within your power tonight, after we're done here, to inform administration starting tomorrow, administrators and lunch. You can do that right now. That doesn't cost us any money. That's not, frankly, all that big a deal. And why we haven't done it earlier, you can ask the administration that. But it's unacceptable that that's not happening. Where are the administrators in lunch? Where are the administrators during the school day? Why aren't they in the hallways? Why are the teachers now cops? I believe a teacher was asked, did you follow proper disciplinary procedure? My God, they're there to teach. They're there to be the eyes and ears, yes, but when they raise their hand and say, hey, we have a kid acting up, it's the administration's job then to deal with the discipline of that child. We need to deal with that. And in the short time I have left, I would also ask that we address the current issue we have with transfer eligibility of incoming students. We had an issue with our football team where we had to forfeit games because we had an incoming student who was academically ineligible. We don't currently have a mechanism in place to vet the eligibility of incoming transfers. We are just now starting wrestling and basketball, 2 sports for which we are passionately interested. Please, for the love of God, put a procedure in place tomorrow to vet the eligibility of everybody on that team so that we don't have another incident like we had in the fall. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Going on to new business, National Honor Society induction board meeting conflicts. Well, that, I believe is the December meeting, Dr. Bell, this conflict takes place? November.
I was wondering if we could maybe ask them before we try to change our schedule, since the school board is representing so many people and involving so many as far as our calendar and that. I was just wondering if we could ask those in charge of the Honor Society if they would be interested in changing their date. It's not something that's been set in stone. I mean, maybe it has been, but I'm not sure why the need is there to set that in stone. I would recommend doing that before I would try to change it before we can do it.
So you're recommending that we talk to them, kind of decide what to do. Okay. I believe I saw an email that is tried in the past, but new board, new faces, maybe, you know.
Well, do what I did this year. I just came to the board meeting late. I mean, I'm not sure how many board members would have been there if it wasn't a board meeting night. I'm not, you know, my child wouldn't have been there, I probably wouldn't have been there. So I think it may affect us if we have children there, which I'm not sure how many, it'll be a few years before some others are that age. So my personal opinion.
Any other discussion on that?
I think the other factor, more importantly than that, I mean, it's important that we as board members can go to whatever activities we can go to. But there was criticism on social media that none of the administrators and principals and things like that who are here in attendance don't have the ability to be there, and I don't know if that sets the right tone. And I'm sure that the administrators would have attended something as important. I mean, that really, besides graduation, which everyone is included into, this is our highest academic society that we allow people. So to me, it's a very big deal. And we shouldn't be looking for ways to exclude people from attending because we have a board meeting, but looking for allowing people to have, more people to have the opportunity, especially our administrators.
So Dave, are you agreeing with Steve
I
that we should
totally
come up
agree.
with another
It'd be easier. I
date?
mean, we spent time saying we don't want to spend $2,500, so I wasn't here last week, but if it followed like it always does, you set when the board meetings are, you probably pick the Lebanon Daily News, we're paying them to publish those dates, and so if we change something, we have to publish it again in the Lebanon Daily News and pay them more money. I'm not advocating to spend more money. I think it'd be cheaper and easier if the National Honor Society and their advisors would work to find a date that would work for everybody.
Glenn, I have something else. It's now a good time.
Well, so how are we going to address this, Don? Would you talk to them, or one of the administrators talk to the National Honor Society for us?
We can do that if that's what you want. We've requested that before multiple times, and it wouldn't change the date. I suggest that I'll write a letter and basically let it come from the board.
Thank you.
I would like to bring up something for us to discuss maybe next month. Give everybody a chance to think about it, and possibly vote on it. I don't know if we will need to vote on it or if it's something that we just need to discuss. Every month we spend $180 for food for the board members to eat after board meetings. And I would like to look at that maybe and think it's a new year, it's a new board, new philosophy perhaps. And I would like to discuss the possibility of using maybe half of that money for a snack for the community and administrators, people who come in on our second board meeting where we usually have a good amount of people, like cookies and hot chocolate or something for people to mill around and talk afterwards, ask us questions, so that we are available to the community. And we're also sharing in them and not going off in a room by ourselves. And the other half of the money, I thought it would be good for us to use, maybe save it up and use it for an ice cream social for the faculty and staff, for the board members to be there to talk to them and get to know them a little bit and have an opportunity to just get to know them and let them know how much we appreciate who they are and what they do for our school. So that's just a thought. You know, something for us to think about and maybe put on the agenda for next week.
Thank you, Rachel. And something I'd like to bring up at this point is that I think it would be really beneficial to everyone if we had a retreat for the board, hopefully in January, no later than February, to kind of just go over things like what is the budget, how does it evolve, what are the parameters of the meeting, what's expected of a board member. There's so many different things that we could discuss, and I think that especially with so many new board members coming on board, and it's always good as a seasoned board member to get some input and refresher of, yeah, that was a good idea. So I would like to throw that out that probably this month I'll put some things together, like talk to the management committee and see if we can come up with an agenda and then look at some dates in early January to meet.
I would like to add to that and request that we as a board discuss how we want to move forward with the public documents, making them accessible prior to meetings as discussed this evening. The other thing that I think that would be really beneficial is just to talk about protocol. I think there's been discussion and some emails about just making sure that we're going through the right channels and following protocol, that we all know what protocol is and how to go about that.
perhaps get a date tonight, because I know January is right around the corner, and, you know, I don't know, maybe an executive session, I don't know if that's executive session, I'm sure that's not. So, it would just be nice to get it on the calendar, because I know January's.
I have my fancy cell phone here, so.
Glenn, while you're looking at dates, one common theme that we hear meeting after meeting is the public wants to be more involved. Would our retreat be open to the public?
Off the top of my head, I have no problem either way. I don't really see, I mean, if somebody can give me some input as why we shouldn't, but I don't see if somebody wants to sit in on our meetings and realize all that goes into creating a budget, or, you know, those types of, you know, the protocol things, the things that we deal with on a daily basis as board members. If the public wants to learn more about that, we might get more people interested in joining the board. So I don't have a problem with that.
It's advertised. It's advertised, so why not?
I was just gonna say it's a training, so if people in the public want to be trained about that, doesn't, I mean, it's just gonna be educational, so there wouldn't be any reason why they couldn't come.
And when we did it before, were you president then, or was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, was president? When we did the retreat. We chose not to do it for the public, because it was an information gathering, and there was no discussion of any agenda items. It was basically just getting information. I think this would still be just getting information, but I don't think there would be a problem with people coming.
Ag lunch and we'll be able to send it. It's a good point. I think that would go a long way, hopefully, in letting the public realize that what we have to talk about and getting some background is all good stuff. I have no problem with that.
And along those same lines, and increasing the public input, I'd like to also add part of the items that we'd like to discuss. I'd like to add something in regard to discussing some subcommittees that would be having some input from the public, so that we can allow for more discussion, more input, and more dialogue between the board and our community members.
It may be helpful if we could get administrators, PTO contacts as well. PTO president, just so we can maybe extend their own pulse in the buildings. And email to you.
Yes.
Anything else? Ready for adjournment? The only other thing that I would like to, and I think this retreat will really help us as a board, but the other day in our team meetings at school, and I regret that I didn't make copies of this, but it was basically the principal was going over professional meetings and basically professional etiquette, because whenever you get a bunch of professionals together and you're talking about things that everybody's passionate about, sometimes you can forget about the little things that, you know, you should be respectful for, respecting ideas, differing ideas, and not cutting people off, all those kind of things. And I think that as a board, we have a real chance now to lighten up a little bit, to respect each other's differing point of views, and still like each other as a person. So I'm going to really delve into that a little bit as far as the retreat, because I think part of that whole thing of us getting together as a board and reaching common ground is to accept the fact that there is a lot of uncommon ground that we come from, and then we have to figure ways of dealing with each other with respect as human beings, and still be able to function as a board. So that's my little soapbox. And
Glenn, I have one thing.
Same thing.
For the first time as president, I hear it. Yes.
This is probably more for the new people that are elected, but if maybe by next meeting, Dr. Bell could get us a copy of the goals, the district's goals up until maybe this summer. I know most people that are on it probably have them, but I don't believe us three do. So if we could have a copy of the district goals through the summer, and then maybe some updates up until the summer, just like goals we want to meet maybe
By the end of the school year.
by the end of the school year, goals we would like to meet as a district, and then goals that maybe we had, not we, but goals that had been set maybe at the beginning of this school year, if we could have an update of how those goals are coming along and if we're meeting any.
Okay, the goals in general were usually set usually in April by the board. Or
So they're not set yet.
So they're supposed to be set, and so those would be the ones that be in place. So that's why you confused me when you said the summer.
Okay.
And they're, in general, I can have those for you, the goals that were already given to the teachers. That's where they come from,
Okay.
the board's direction, so that's not a problem.
Could you also then add as well your goals, Dr. Bell, and then the updates that you provided to us throughout the year? Up to that point, the ones in the past, I think you do them quarterly?
My quarterly reports?
Yes.
I'll certainly look at those.
So they had those with your goals and then your updates on the goals? Thank you.
Are we going to look at those?
Okay, well, we have, I'm assuming we're looking at a Saturday, because it was an all-day event, so probably I would say the second is out just because it's still the holiday and people might be still traveling. So we're looking at the 9th, 16th, 23rd, or 30th.
The 23rd is out for you. I'm not
The 16th, that would be after our regular board meeting, that would be the following, that's Saturday after the 12th, which would be our official board meeting.
Does that work for you, Dr. Bell?
Nope.
The 6th, how about the 9th?
Nope.
The 30th?
That's correct.
30th, you're good on the 30th? 30th? Okay, the 30th?
It's no even for
Everybody looking at the 30th, then
30th works.
let's make that the 30th. Can I call for a motion to make that official?
A motion that we have a board retreat on January 30th.
Second.
Discussion?
I just wondered how it was going to be expressed to the public. Would that be via our website or Facebook or?
It would be, yeah, so we would look at legally make sure it's advertised and,
it. Doesn't have to be advertised. No, not legally, that doesn't have to be advertised. Not legally, it doesn't have to be.
I
You
think,
can advertise it at a January meeting, we have to make it advertised in the paper. Am I correct?
That's correct. It's considered a conference, doesn't need to be advertised. You're correct.
and I agree, it probably doesn't need to be advertised, but if there's any, I think we should look at ways to make sure that.
On the website.
Yeah, the website, and to make sure that,
Pay the newspaper to advertise.
to me, I think this is an awesome opportunity to get the public, those concerned citizens, so, you know, I just want to make sure that it doesn't happen afterwards, they say, oh, I wish I had known, so I just want to make sure we're.
Well, I think, aren't we talking about advertising versus announcing? I mean, we want it to be announced, we don't want to pay for it to be advertised.
Yeah, and that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Where is that?
Don't tell her. I guess do we have to decide that tonight, or can we decide that?
Last time there were boards on. We got it before Ken drove, but
Any other?
Did you have to pay for Kemper?
Right.
You could always have it in my barn. But I don't know if you can do that with a public meeting, but it. That might be a problem.
so you want to lock it in for a year?
For now, it's a no cost. Okay, so we'll lock it in to have it here. I'm not making the, I can't make the.
We don't have to make a motion for that either.
Any other discussion? Roll call? No need to vote?
As long as you got that hammer, you can do whatever you want.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Okay, just a reminder, we do have an executive session following this meeting to discuss a contractual issue.